All right, hi everyone, I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins, 6:01 on our Sunday evening. And I wanted to get you updated with the watches and warnings that we have in place right now. And you can see the purple shading here. That is a hurricane watch for our coastal counties and all of our coastal counties. Sometimes they'll split it up for just the very coastal part of it. But right now it goes all the way for inland parts of Hillsborough, inland Manatee County as well. And basically Marv, and then, sorry guys, and then for inland locations, we have a tropical storm watch. Now, we're looking at this for the next couple of days. We basically have it Tuesday and Wednesday is the time frame where we expect to see this pushing in. But the watches go into effect 48 hours before we expect to see this type of weather in place. Right now, when you see a hurricane watch, that means we could see winds in excess of 74 miles per hour. The best chance of that would be right along the coast and from Tampa northward. The yellow here means you could see winds anywhere from about 39 to about 73, and I think it's going to be a little less than that. But things are changing. Let's show you where we are right now. Tropical Storm Idalia. A lot of convection around the south side. The center is right in here. There's a lot of shear up here to the north as well, but you can see a really good rotation with the wind here. Not the best looking storm at this particular point, but it is starting to organize, we think, and it's been kind of just slowly moving across the northwestern Caribbean. Winds right now, and this is 5 o'clock update, 40-mile-per-hour winds. It's moving to the northeast at 3. It's basically just kind of meandering down there right now. And then the pressure is dropping a little bit to 995. Those showers and storms that are out there right now, they are not associated with it. They're pushing towards the coast. They'll be done here shortly. That's all I'll say about our local weather. Now, let's talk track. This just came out from the Hurricane Center. You can see it's been kind of looping around here. By tomorrow afternoon, 2, 3 o'clock, it's finally starting to drift northward. And you can see it's going to start to increase in intensity, 65-mile-per-hour winds. Still a tropical storm at that point, right? Then, by Tuesday afternoon, a Category 1 hurricane with 85-mile-per-hour winds. Wednesday morning, 100-mile-per-hour winds. That's the latest forecast from the Hurricane Center. That would make it a Cat 2 hurricane. And this track has shifted a little bit further to the east. It was here the other day, then it kind of came back, and then now it's back further to the east. So certainly want to watch it here. We don't need this to come in and hit us for us to have some significant effects from it. All right, storm surge and wind, that is something that we will have to deal with. After that, it crosses up somewhere near the Big Bend of Florida. It's up towards Chiefland, northwest of Citrus County, and then crosses over towards Savannah, and then it looks like it might want to hug the coast. So, you know, we're not the only ones going to deal with it. It looks like especially coastal Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina will have to watch it as well. Along with the hurricane watches and warnings, or hurricane watches, tropical storm watches, we have this pink area that you see right here, and that is a storm surge watch. All right, that could go into a warning. I do expect to go into a warning probably sometime during the day tomorrow. You notice how it's right along the immediate coast, but it does include the areas inside the bay, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that coming up. Let me show you the forecast models. Really good agreement, or at least fairly good, right? You see a lot of the lines over the same spot. You do see some off to the right. And I've been thinking all day this is going to shift to the right. The Hurricane Center has now moved their track a little bit to the right. So we still have to watch this. Charlie, Ian, right? They are all coming up in this area, and then they all turned a little bit sooner. So it's not set in stone. And because of that, we need to prepare as if we're going to get it a little bit closer to us. And that's kind of what we've been trying to do with this. And you can see the forecast models do take it out along the immediate coast as we get going through, it looks like now, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Let me take you to the European model, because this is the model that's been seeing this storm for a good week now. The GFS just jumped on board about 3 days ago. The forecast now from the European model brings it out Monday, 7 p.m., western tip of Cuba, now into the Gulf of Mexico, and then pushes it off towards the north-northeast. That's Tuesday night at 11 p.m. The worst part, it's what's called the dirty side of the storm, right? That's to the east of the center, because that's where you have the highest winds. You've got the most moisture being pulled up from the south to southwest and even south to southeast. It's all coming up in this direction. The highest winds will be right around the immediate center. So if that center stays offshore, we won't see the highest winds. Wherever it goes onshore, up here, there's Crystal River right there, Chiefland right there, they will get the highest winds. All right, but we will still get a lot of wind. And then the deal is the storm surge aspect, which is probably going to be more of a story for this storm than anything else, that really won't get going until late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. This is 6 a.m. Wednesday morning. Look at all that wind blowing in south to southwest. Initially, it's blowing southeast to northwest. That'll blow some water out, right? But as we go through, it looks like now Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, we're going to see the wind pick back up out of the south and the west. And that, as that center goes north of us, it's really going to push that water in. Likely to happen overnight, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Again, that's 6 a.m., still a big surge. Now, as we go through the afternoon hours on Wednesday, the storm pulls away and we really drop out the wind, which will drop the water. Storm surge is not flooding from rainfall. Storm surge is literally the water in the Gulf of Mexico and Tampa Bay being blown by the wind up onto shore, up onto land, right? We're going to get some rain, 4 to 6 inches right along the immediate coast, but storm surge is the most deadly part of a hurricane. Most people die associated with hurricanes because of the water and storm surge. So let's talk a little bit now about the wind. This is a probability map, meaning what are the chances of seeing at least tropical storm force winds? Obviously, the highest are right here in the center, but if you look here, we put some numbers on it. Lakeland, it's only a 41% chance we even see winds of 40 miles per hour or higher, right? Of course, along the coast, we've got the highest, Tampa at 52%. It will be higher for Clearwater Beach, for Tierra Verde, for Hudson, for Tarpon Springs. You're right there on the water. You're going to get more wind, obviously. And with the hurricane watch in effect for those areas, it means we could see winds of 74, 75 miles per hour or higher. Right now, let me show this for you. This is the European model. Once again, this is 6 p.m. on Tuesday. Notice the numbers here for Tampa for winds. And look where the highest winds are. There's the center. And this is just a forecast model. This will change, but this is ballpark. Watch as we go to Tuesday night at 11 o'clock. This number is a sustained number. It means a constant wind in the 40s. Gusts in the 50s to 60. Okay, that's for Tampa. It'll be a little bit higher out here on the coast. So 40 to 60 mile per hour winds along that I-75 corridor, less as you work your way in, a little bit more as you work your way back towards the coast. Now this is 11 p.m. on Tuesday. Look where that wind angle is. You see that? It's kind of side shore, but it's blowing onshore for Manatee and Sarasota County. That's when the surge gets going. And then as we go through the overnight, this is 3 a.m., now we've got winds blowing right directly onshore and right into the mouth of the bay. So that is really when the surge is going to start going. Overnight, middle of the night. Now, again, the timing may change, but the overall pattern, what I want to try and get across to you today is where is the center of that storm? Because we'll be watching that as we track it the next 48 hours, right? Then we will know when the surge will start to rise the most. Okay, so right now it looks like it's overnight Tuesday night into Wednesday. This is sunrise Wednesday morning. It's now just about making landfall up here in Chiefland somewhere. We still have a lot of wind blowing a lot of water in, and we're talking 4 to 6 foot storm surge in the Tampa Bay area. Could go as high as 10 feet. The further north you go, we're looking maybe 8, 9 foot of storm surge for Crystal River. All right, and I'll talk a little bit about that coming up. Now, this is Wednesday at 11 a.m. Winds coming down, still out of the west. Water levels are still high. 30 mile per hour winds, so that will let some of that water back down, but we're still keeping tides high. Oh, and by the way, we have king tides because we have a full moon on the 30th. And so tides are running higher just to begin with. About 2.5 to 3 feet is the high tide throughout this period. So this is really bad timing to have a storm surge on top of that. This is 3 o'clock Wednesday. Notice the wind's coming down. Water comes down. That's 11 p.m. Wednesday evening. Wind's way down. Water comes way down. Storm surge water actually drops very quickly when the wind does. So that's something, at least a kind of silver lining there, right? All right, so let's get back to the storm surge watch. Basically almost south of Panama City, it's really just southwest of Tallahassee, all the way down past Marco Island has the watch. Let's go right into the Bay Area. And this is just kind of ballpark at this point, but these are the potential areas that could flood with a storm surge of about 3 to 5, perhaps 3 to 6 feet in this area. And what I want you to notice is some of the reds. Look where the reds are. This is Tampa Road, by the way. That's Oldsmar right there. A lot of that area, which is low lying anyways, but that's inside the bay. And that's because the water gets pushed into the bay and there's nowhere for it to go. It literally just runs into downtown Tampa, runs into Feather Sound over here, runs into Oldsmar and Rocky Point. And so those areas build the water up. The campgrounds at MacDill, they'll be underwater. You get over towards Davis Islands and a lot of that could be underwater. There's at least parts of Davis Islands that could get some surge that brings the water up and over the roads there. All right, so we're going to go right now at about 3 to 5, but we're thinking that number could come up just a little bit. Now you get down towards the west side of South Tampa. Let's just go downtown, right? Downtown's over here. There's the Howard Franklin Bridge. There's the Gandy. This area west there of West Shore is going to see the water come up quite a bit. We're thinking about 2 to 3 feet at that point. You can see the yellows here is about 3 foot of surge. Obviously, that's MacDill Air Force Base. Look at downtown. That's Davis Islands right there. The yellow to orange. Right now, it's saying 3 to 5 foot or maybe even more of storm surge. And of course, that's over towards downtown where the cruise ships would be as well, too. I put Apollo Beach in here as well. And you can see mostly yellow in that area, but there are some spots that could get a little bit more. So that would put it again around 3 to 5 foot there. And then, of course, you can see Tampa Road. There could actually be, if this is high enough, we could get water on Tampa Road. That's what some of this is suggesting. Now, the beaches, you would think because they're out there on the beach, they would get more. Some spots could, and this is about 3 to 5 here. Again, the National Weather Service, I think so far now is going 4 to 6. And that's here, and that will get higher the further north you go up towards Crystal River. All right, so here's, that's Clearwater Beach right there. There's Clearwater Pass. You can see it's about 3 to 5 foot there, maybe just a touch more. You get up to Tarpon Springs now. The sponge docks, I mean, we're used to this, right? We see this. But anywhere along the Anclote River there is going to be pushed up as well, too. Newport Richey, this yellow line here is US 19. There will be some spots that we're going to have to watch that some of that water could come up to US 19 right in the Newport Richey area. So you live west of there. Right now it's about a 3 foot surge that is possible. Look at all the reds showing up. Now a lot of this area here in western Hernando, western Citrus County, it's marshy area because you can't really develop here because this kind of stuff happens. But there are some locations out here where people live. And then look at Crystal River. Crystal River right now, 98, which is essentially US 19 right there, goes right through downtown. And you can see all of these little lines. Those are streets. And there's 6 to 9 foot storm surge in that area. So it's very important, especially Tampa, especially Pinellas, northward. Manatee, yeah, you need to know too. It'll be less further south, thinking 2 to 3, maybe 2 to 4 in Manatee and Sarasota counties. But it's very important that you know your zone. Where is your house, right? What evacuation zone are you in? So you can even just Google it, Citrus County evacuation zones. And it'll take you to the Citrus County government site. You can even put your address in many of those locations, and it'll tell you your zone. Know this now because I'm telling you right now, there will be some evacuations, okay? And if they don't get started late tonight, they'll get started tomorrow morning, all right? And so you're going to want to know if you need to be asked to evacuate. Working further up the way, this is towards Chiefland here, you can see a lot of red there. This is where we think the storm's coming in. We'll probably see the highest storm surge right in this area. Now, Crystal River, if this storm comes further east, you're going to get more storm surge out of it. All right, so here's what you need to know. Hurricane watches along the immediate coast. Tropical storm watches for inland locations. It's not a windstorm for inland locations, especially Polk County. You'll have some wind. We'll have a tornado threat late tomorrow evening through tomorrow night, and then by the time we get past midnight, I think that will be going down as the storm moves by. Not tomorrow. We're talking Tuesday night again through Wednesday. So late Tuesday afternoon, we'll start watching for tornadoes. Tuesday night, there's a chance for it. Then they'll go by, and we won't have to deal with those mainly early on Wednesday. Put your hurricane plan into action. Now we're at the point in this process where today I went out and cleaned off the lanai. I put some chairs in. Anything that can blow and become a projectile in the wind at my house now is just about gone. I've got a couple more things to do. You should be doing that this evening. I would suggest you have it done by sunset tomorrow, sunset on Monday. It's a lot easier to do this stuff when it's daylight out, and you can use the daylight, and we'll just have a few storms around for tomorrow to get that kind of stuff done, okay? Clear out your lanais, things out around your house that can blow. If you want to put boards up, you can go ahead and do so. And again, you want to do that. I think all of this before we get to lunchtime, noon on Tuesday. You want to have your preps completely done by noon on Tuesday. Now, the impacts here are Tuesday afternoon through the evening hours into the middle half, I'd say probably Wednesday afternoon, that 24-hour period, and especially overnight Tuesday. This timing might change just a little bit, so stay tuned to us, okay? And don't forget all the social media that we're doing here on 10 Tampa Bay, our entire team here. You can get my stuff, Bobby Deskins Weather, Facebook and YouTube, Bobby D Weather on Instagram, and Bobby WTSP on X. Now, we also basically have these updates that you're going to see right now that you're watching on our what we call OTT. We will be back at 8:30 tonight with another update on that, and we have a steady schedule of these to help keep you informed and prepared through this storm. We're going to get through this. It's not going to be terrible for everybody, but there will be some spots, especially along the coast, that will have some, I think, some significant effects from it. So stay prepared. Get your plan into action now. The more you're prepared and ready to go now, the less stress and the safer you'll be as we go through this storm. Stay with us here on 10 Tampa Bay. We'll keep you up to speed on it.